Welcome to a Drop Tent Media Production.
The Porcupine with Adam Nutter.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Porcupine. Why did we start 12 minutes late, you ask? Good question. I'm stupid. I sent the wrong links to my guest. Hey, how's it going? I get paid for this. I get paid to do content and tell jokes. Hey, I'm crushing it. All right, guys, thanks for coming on out to the Porcupine. Some quick housekeeping. This is live. So this Friday I'll be in Reading at the LPPA convention telling jokes, so come on out to that. Then Punchline, March 15th. Oh, March 12th, Ashland Distillery, Morrisville. Punchline, Philly, March 15th. March 24th, 25th, I'll be with Robbie the Fire Bernstein, Steamboat Springs, Colorado. April 6th, Delaware LP convention. April 7th, Maryland LP convention. And then May 13th, I think I'm doing the Georgia one. I don't know. It's a lot of conventions, so check me out. Follow me at Adam Nutter on the road and all that shit. Go listen to Cult of Us, my other podcast I do. Droptent.com/events for tickets and all that good stuff. Okay, cool. Guys, we're talking UFOs today. UFOs, Psyops, all the good stuff. And who better to bring on than from the Deep Dives podcast with Monica Perez, or the Monica Perez Show. You have multiple names for your show.
Yes. These are different points in time. Right now, it's Deep Dives with Monica Perez. And I actually have not done a deep dive on UFOs, but I did do a little Union of the Unwanted with the whole Chinese balloon thing. And is it alien tech and all of that? So we can get into my maybe opinions people don't like in the conspiracy world. You never know what people are going to think is too far or not far enough.
That's what we're here for. And to really drag this podcast to just a halt, I brought on this guy who he works out like 3 months in a row. He thinks he's like the shit
I'm
now.
Jack now.
He thinks he's Jack now. Just Cole's 2 feet tall, and I'll put him into the core of Jupiter if I ever fought him. Just keep that in mind, all right? Because it means muscles mean nothing. I
took
fight.
one BJJ class. I'll whoop your ass, dude.
Probably true.
You guys know him. You guys love him. Cole, a.k.a. Fat Comic Dave from the Tower Gang.
Dude, I couldn't wait for this. I heard it because we did a conspiracy one like months ago.
A while.
And you were like, I think we did it like we talked about Bigfoot. And I was like, I would love to do some more conspiracy stuff. And then we had Sim Tripoli on our show. And I was like, I mean, that's kind of like Monica, where he just has a billion different podcasts, but they're all different names. So, but yeah, so I was like, it got me back into conspiracies again, which never really left. But
He's beyond. He's beyond.
Well,
like he does like Tartaria and stuff. Like,
dude, he was
ancient civilization.
Tartaria now.
Yeah.
I think that shit's real.
Oh my gosh, I can't do that.
I watched 2 documentaries on YouTube, and I'm like, this is real.
I asked my mother that. My mother's 94, and I was like, when you were young and you went into like the Chrysler Building or whatever, did you think, no way we built this? She said, of course not. I saw them build it. I was standing there. So
yeah, but the newer stuff, we have like footage of building. But like it's the older stuff, like the World's Fair stuff. There's like no pictures of being constructed. Is weird.
That is weird.
It's weird.
And the moon landing. They just did the moon landing anniversary, and they just didn't even do it. They didn't. I'm sure they wouldn't show us the films and stuff because they knew we would laugh and just be like, "Oh my gosh, like that's so fake."
Here's one thing. I actually this came up the other day, and you might have the best answer for this. So they were talking about there was a article came out said that the moon right now is actually getting further away, like 3 centimeters every year, and I could tell
because year.
That's what they said. 3 centimeters every year.
No, that's a lot. That's a crazy amount.
Yeah, they were like, it's floating away, but they say they knew that because of the reflective panels that we put on the moon whenever we went up there. And so I was wondering what you thought. Like, I wanted to ask somebody about that. I mean.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. They didn't put anything on the moon.
They said they put reflective mirrors on the moon, and so they could bounce back stuff, and then they could tell that it was moving farther away. And that's
3 centimeters would be a tremendous amount. And when did that start? How did it start? And
they said
quickly,
it's recently. They said it's recently getting further away.
And it wouldn't just float away. Like it might float away for a little bit, but then it would just break away. Like, it doesn't just like get further and further. Like it just will no longer be in orbit. But in which case, then it just careens. But this is just the thing about the moon landing. I just even just your own sanity like check. These guys got in the thing. They shot up into the outer space. They went to or inner space, whatever. They went to the moon. The moon, their little thing went around the moon. Then they got off. They got off in a little spaceship that went down to the ground of the moon. They walked around, played golf, whatever. Took pictures themselves. Forgot to take pictures of the stars, which I think you could do with like the most primitive cameras ever. You could have,
That's
and that
the
would be
atmosphere.
Oh, there's no atmosphere. The most valuable thing you could ever have is have another point at which to look at the stars. That's like the only reason to go to
It'd
the
be
moon.
the clearest point because no atmosphere, so it could be insanely
And-
clear. You could see.
I mean, you have no way of understanding true dimensionality without a point off the Earth. It would have been the first opportunity. But here's the thing that I can even accept all of that. But what I cannot accept is that they got back on their little ship and shot back up to the thing that was floating around the moon and then came back. And people say
then they went back to.
I just cannot get my mind right. I cannot conceive of that happening.
See, here's the annoying part with all this stuff. It's like people like who are hardcore defending it. They'll just be like, well, because you don't understand it. I go, yeah, but you don't either.
No, that right. No,
So
it's up to them to explain to me how
There's
something
like 5
that,
guys, and they're all feds, and they're the ones that understand it.
Because
But
like my
it's
friend
their
Brian
job.
doesn't know any more than I know. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're an idiot. You're a garbage man. Shut up. Like you don't know. I'm an idiot too. Like,
but they're the ones who are trying to convince us of something preposterous. We're right in saying this is ridiculous. Now, if you said the Van Allen radiation belts, I would say, I don't know. You know, like people will say that. I'm like, I can't verify that. So that could be them telling us that so that when they can prove that it's not true, you look stupid. I can't say, all I can say is your story does not make sense to me and you have not proven it to me. And your videotape shows no time delay in your conversation with the guy on the moon. So
yeah,
that
they spoke to what's his face on a moon phone.
Yeah.
And like I can't get I can't get cell service in a plane now. It's 2023. It's like what are you talking about?
Do you think so? Because we went back multiple times. I know that we went to the moon 6 times.
I think
or
they
7 or something.
definitely landed on it 3 times. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe 6 or 7. I don't know.
Yeah. I know there was. There was what?
Yeah. Then they forgot how.
Yeah, well, it's like, but they were just like, you know what, we did it enough. There's nothing else to know up there. It's like they were like, we're just done. We don't need to go up there anymore.
So here's something interesting. That Werner von Braun, was that his name? The Nazi artichoke guy? Yeah. So he said, I'm not working on the moon project because fuel is too heavy to get there and back and get off the Earth. So he said that's just physically, like physics wisely, just scientifically impossible with the current fuel that we have. I'm not wasting my time on that. So all this time I've been thinking, all right, well, they need a new fuel. So I was moving out to California a couple of years ago and I looked up into the sky and I saw it literally looked like, you know, those people who do the ribbon dances, like, I don't know if it's like Shun Li or whatever. Yeah. In the sky was a ribbon like that looked like fluorescent light. And I was looking and I was like, that is fucking freaky. It wasn't in the news like, oh, freaky thing happening. Then I heard someone say, oh, that's a SpaceX rocket. I was like, it's okay. And supposedly it is. And I looked up and I was like, what are SpaceX rockets? You know, what fuels them? And it was a SpaceX
for Elon Musk dick. SpaceX.
Yes. It was spooge coming out the back. No, it was what it was they say it's like kerosene. It's made of kerosene, which doesn't have whatever. So I don't believe, I don't know. Maybe that's what kerosene looks like. It looks super futuristic. But my point was, as soon as I saw that weird fuel, I thought they might actually be able to get to the moon now because they needed a new fuel. And I think now they have one.
Do you think
that's why he's working on it?
Yeah. So you're not completely flat out for where you're like, they don't go to outer space isn't real. You're not that
flat Earth. But
you're also the outer space
earthbound?
isn't real. Yeah, we're no one has even gone past outside of the atmosphere because I know
I don't know.
That's a lot of guys, and I'm like thinking now with so many private companies starting to do it, SpaceX, United Launch Alliance.
Yeah, they might actually do it.
They actually might be going. But the funny thing is, like, they're just like
Yeah, I
60
know.
years
They're
after
working on
the
Breaching
government
the
could
tip
do
of
it.
Yeah.
We're just now getting
Yeah.
like these private
So-
companies guys are getting up there.
For sure.
I don't think we're running around on Mars either. I don't think we've got a little
No,
rover
no.
on Mars because there's a picture of Devon Island where they practice Mars,
Mhm.
and it's fucking Mars.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the
yeah.
Mars.
They do like those rover training in like in Antarctica, and
Yes.
you're like, that looks the same. I don't know.
It
It
looks
just looks red.
exact.
It looks with a red filter.
Exact.
Here's the other thing I want to bring up to you guys is like I feel like since the moon landing almost around that time, maybe a little before that, but definitely around that time. It's always been like all of human existence, like trust your eyes, trust your ears, trust your personal experiences. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, you're wrong. Don't trust your gut. Don't believe what you're looking at. It's all fake. We're right. We know. You're just a stupid idiot who doesn't know school. And you're like, I don't know, maybe. But also maybe you're lying to me. Like one of those two things could be true for sure.
I think they actually invented or hijacked sociology and psychology for that purpose. So they could say, so I was raised by a pretty conservative guy, traditional conservative, my dad, and he would say, you can't give people welfare because they will just not work while they're getting it because they just want free money. And
Correct.
I'm like,
Nailed it.
that
What
sounds
else?
right. Yeah, that's true, right? We know that that's true. But my sister is super liberal. She was totally like a 60s liberal, whatever. And she's like, no one would ever want the indignity of not working. You have to it doesn't give them incentive. They if they're taking that money, they really need it because the shame of taking the money is so great. And I'm just like, what? Like that? And I'm thinking, psychology. She's like, yes, psychology, sociology.
That's
And
like
I'm
being like,
thinking,
people don't rob because of that either, because they want to really earn that
They
dollar.
wanna-
It's
Yes.
like, go to Philly.
yes, and rape is not about sex. Well, actually, rape might not be about sex. I really don't know. I
don't know.
haven't been raped. Never raped anybody.
Let's ask the chat. Chat, what do you guys think?
Yeah, right. Is rape about sex? Because that's a weird thing that people say. Like, it's not about anyway. So I like the comment that Cole looks fat. in the
Yeah,
thumbnail.
Yeah, so
I
He
did
makes my
bring this up.
he makes my thumbnails for me, and he
Oh,
chose the
fuck
picture.
you, Leighton, because that was
There
an
you go.
old ass picture. You can tell because I didn't have a beard, so it's way before.
So
my
at least
wife-
it was 2 weeks ago.
Before you lost all that weight.
yeah, and I was like, I saw it, and I immediately messaged like in our group chat that I'm with Adam and Leighton's in there too, and I was like, why did you use that picture of me?
And I threw Leighton
Where did you
around the
even
bus.
get it from? I don't even know where he got it. Like,
I go, I'm just the talent. That's
Monica looks great, Adam looks great, and I'm over there like, ooh, like
Nice.
fucking just fatso. Like, that was 20 pounds ago.
Yeah, but all the new alien shit that's coming out, like when I was a kid, up until very recently, I was a big alien believer, like a big like ooh, aliens are for sure real. That has to be right. And then all of a sudden, because like we're all the same with none of us trust what government says, right? So the COVID thing is just one example that we could all agree on. We're all like immediately like no, right?
No,
We
yes.
all immediately we're all three of us, and everyone listening was like no,
Yeah.
whatever, no. This
Yeah.
March 2020, we're like no.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
The alien that hit me, the same feeling hit me right when from 1947 up until 2017, the United States government was like, not only do aliens not exist, we'll kill you if you say they do exist. And then they're like, not only do they do exist, here's all this high-tech footage of aliens existing all of a sudden. And then you're like, well, I don't believe you. Now, that made me immediately go, oh, you know what? I think you are lying. Not only do they I don't even think they might even be real.
Right.
Like,
No,
yeah,
it
this
makes
is
you
the-
believe
yeah.
in them
straight-
less. Yes.
This is what I've become into more and more
Yeah.
because you look at like what the EF and Economic Forum and all the pedophile elites are doing. They're trying to like tear apart your family unit, right? Tear apart structure, tear apart religion. And I'm telling you, the UFO thing is like number one for me to be like, what's the biggest way to tear down religion and family unit? Introduce aliens, because that would destroy religion, right? It will destroy all your
That's
stupid
literally
gods.
Project Bluebeam. They
Exactly,
literally
100%
came
Project
up with-
Bluebeam, right?
Yeah, that's what that
Right.
is.
Because
from the beginning.
what's government's number one obstacle into their authority is in a God, right? 'Cause true religious people go, well, God first, then family, then country, right?
Right.
It's-
You would
Yeah.
die. You're not going to betray God because then you've got eternity in hell. Like
Exactly.
it's just
And-
you got
and they don't like that,
Yeah,
right?
to
The
feed
government's
that, yeah.
like, well, how can we destroy this more?
Well, it's not
Let's shatter
necessarily
that.
destroy. It's they want to replace God with themselves.
Right, right,
Like,
right,
we
right,
become. And so
right.
if they can, the whole thing with Project Bluebeam was to fake the second coming of Jesus
Mm-hmm.
Christ, but then make that they have their own guy, and then so they can be like,
Some
and
guy
so
Steve behind a curtain.
yeah,
Like,
it's
Jesus.
happen like the environmentalists. Like it's obvious there's this spiritual imperative or whatever, and maybe because I think a lot of this stuff is experimental, like when they do these major things, they definitely want to accomplish something, surveillance or whatever, but they're also watching group psychology all the time. So it's possible, like the Russian Revolution and the Soviet experiment, they tried to eradicate religion and they realized, I think, that that's not possible. It's in our archetype. And then they realize that's an opportunity. Everything's an opportunity for them. And I think there is some like universal religion that they've tried before, I think Unitarian, whatever, but there's one like out of Tel Aviv that was also had some outpost in Sandy Hook or like Newtown. Yeah, I saw that. Sophia Smallstorm did a video of that right when that was happening, like 10 years ago. And I don't know if I could ever find that again. I don't know if it's still out there, but she was saying how that like world religion was doing some experimentation there with like childhood trauma or I don't know what. But the idea, I think, would be that they want to co-opt that. And maybe the God, the interdimensional factor might be one of these extraterrestrials. But I also feel like then you said like about God being, you could eradicate God that way. The Darwinian evolution, and I would say this is another thing, that it does not work mathematically to just have random mutations.
Oh man, you're gonna get on. Oh man,
Yeah,
that's the evolution thing really fucks with people.
It's wrong though. It's just you
Yeah,
you can't randomly stack a bunch of like allele mutations and turn up with an eyeball at the end. Each mutation has to eradicate the entire previous level of that species. You know what I'm saying? So it's not possible, right? So when you get to that point, it's mathematically impossible, Darwinism. And you know,
Show
it's
his
weird.
other comment. It's funnier.
I don't want to. I'm not. No. By the way, you know what, Jacob? I will. And I'm going to see you Friday, and I'm going to fucking eviscerate you from the stage. Just know that.
What? You're not ruining it.
No, Jacob's, he's my friend. He's a dick. He's a PA guy with me. And I'm going to see him at the convention Friday. He's going to be at my show. And
But he is going to love the whole evolution talk, because that was, I mean, I grew up really conservative and Christian. I don't know if you did Christian, but I know you grew
I'm Catholic. I'm a Catholic also.
Okay, so we all
You're Catholic, Adam?
I'm confirmed, baptized, born and raised Catholic. Went to church every day, every Sunday.
You still go to church?
No. No.
I didn't go to church.
Go to church.
I'm back, and I like it.
Here's the deal. That's Colt. Not to cut you off.
Baby's blood.
I'm gonna go back to Colt's point, but just to get to my point, real quick, just to my Catholic upbringing, real quick. No, I was a typical Italian Catholic who hated it because my parents made me do it, didn't care about it, and then like junior year of high school, I was like, I went to Catholic high school, but I was like, I'm done going to church. Like I'll go for the big things. And then I stopped for years. I thought it was all bullshit, like the church and all. And then up until very recently, I was like, you know what? I think I was wrong. I think there's something to all this, and I fucked up. Now I still don't believe in like the institution.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like priests still fuck kids. I mean, I have multiple bits about it, so I can't turn on that, or I'll kill my career. But
but the Pope drinks baby's blood. There's no question.
For sure, that's what I'm saying. But I still believe
literally or metaphorically.
But I don't believe in But I still believe in like God and that whole. I just don't believe in the institution that runs run by men. Is my point.
But I don't even believe in the institution, but I love the principles of it, and I like the rituals.
And the other thing is like this is like because of that. I mean, I guess did you all both go to public school?
I went to
Catholic grammar school.
I went to public grammar school, Catholic high school.
Okay, so I went to Christian school, like Baptist school, from K5 to postgraduate. Not postgraduate, just graduate.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't get my.
Wow.
Hey man, you're not a doctor.
No, not a doctor. Sorry, just my bachelor's. But and so I was always like taught like evolution is wrong. It can't happen, and I was given all the arguments, so I knew all of them, and I believe it. Like that's one thing, but like it is different when you talk to people that went to public school and were indoctrinated into like, no, this is how it happened. It's just randomly by chance through billions of years, which the billions of years things I don't know if
not enough.
That's what I think is what they harp on, like the educators.
It's not. No,
it's thinking, well, it's billions of years, so you can't conceptualize billions. Like I can't. But I conceptualize the other thing that we're saying about like the stacking of.
It's mathematically impossible. Like there aren't enough commas to possibly result in that. But here, when you free your mind from the evolution myth, and Lamarck, like there are evolutionary processes. Like Lamarck was more right than Darwin. Lamarck said that the genome, whatever, you could get feedback intergenerational feedback. So as a mother, if I had an experience, it would influence which genes got turned on in the fetus, and then that person might have a similar experience. But there's some like subcellular intelligence that feeds into that, and that is a mechanism that they have no idea how it works. They call it epigenetics. They know.
Oh yeah,
And,
there's I was looking whenever I watched a ton of video working out now, but they were saying like whenever you do lift weights and you work out and you become more fit, it changed your DNA, and it can actually change the DNA of your future children enough to where you like, because you see this with athletes and their kids that were like, and so it was like and that's some sort of evolution of like you got better.
It's a mechanism they don't understand. So, and here's the thing: when you free yourself from the idea that it's random, that there's no intelligence involved, when you free yourself from that, it is just an empty void of, oh, maybe God.
Are you
God's
guys
possible.
Are you guys in intelligent design then? People?
No.
I am. So yeah, that was.
I mean, it could be. I have no idea, but I really don't know.
That was my Christian upbringing. It's like, so intelligent design all the way. God created, whole 6 days of creation. So
right.
Like, that was, and I was brought literal. Like one day, the first day, not.
Right.
So, which there's so many like little fractures within Christian groups.
Here's a question to you guys then, talking about like how evolution doesn't so I guess it's two different ways of thought, because if intelligent design is still evolution but with God's hand being like tap, right, and then the other way is just there's always just every type of animal was just here and that was it, right? Like that would have to be the other way. How, right?
Kind of there's I guess it would be the base, like it would be like dog is, or I guess cat is feline, dog is canine. It would be like there was one canine, and then from all the other canines came.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't be like if Monica's vision. So how I'm interpreting how you envision Monica is like one day there was just octopuses and people and fucking rats.
No,
and
actually, I'm different. Yeah, like I actually am less like that than Cole probably is.
Okay.
I actually think that there are incredibly complex principles at work that transcend the dimensions that we can get our mind around, and that there's something outside this universe that simply has to account for this universe unfolding the way it has. The actual story, that the mainstream story is that everything that exists right now popped into existence as a little dot, and somehow that makes sense, and more sense than the idea that something is outside of it.
I agree with you on that, though.
I was talking about this the other day about how like this is mostly like a liberal people, like they're like high on their midwits, they're high on their horse, so they'd be like, you believe in God, and I'm like, you believe in the universe exploded from a pinhead.
Yeah,
which is just as equally crazy, by the way.
Yeah, you believe in anything but God.
It's
like you don't even
crazy.
have an explanation.
Like, right. It's because that's the other part. I always go, fine, exploded from a pinhead. What created that? It always has to be something, right?
Yeah, the mass and the energy.
Everything
the matter
has a creator and an ending, right? Everything has a beginning and ending. So what was the beginning of that? I don't fucking know. But to go back to the animal thing, because like I've talked about this before in this podcast, I'm fascinated with animals. I'm an animal fucking nerd. Ravens, crows, or corvids in general fascinate me because I think they're brilliant. And like I talked about this with Jacob on his podcast actually about how like could they have souls because of how smart they are, and like what do we base like souls off of?
Like dolphins, how they have,
because ravens are so smart, they understand water displacement. So like if there was a raven who couldn't reach a water bottle, it was like the water was too low in the water bottle, so he picked up rocks and dropped it in there to raise the water level, and was like, got it. Like so not only that, they
can they all do that?
They can learn to do it.
They learn to do it.
They
learn to do it. They teach each other.
It's probably that developmental plasticity.
But how the fuck did a bird learn to raise water levels? And it's crazy because dogs can't. They're dumb. Everyone's like, dogs are smart. They're not. Dogs are dumb. My dog's dumb. Like it blows. And like they mourn their dead, ravens. They also investigate how their dead died to learn. Yeah, so to learn how not to die that way. And they also, ravens are one of the only other, I think, or corvids outside of apes, so us chimps, gorillas, so forth, understand, like, they have a conscience. Like, they understand, like, their thought. Like, they have thought, which is crazy.
They're aware.
They're, like, aware. Like, they have, like, a learned ability of thought. Yeah.
They or I guess it would be of, like, right and wrong, or, like, or just...
You're saying consciousness,
hold on.
right?
Hold on. I'll pull up the article.
He's saying consciousness. I don't think he means conscience. I think he means
sorry. Maybe, yeah,
yes.
They're conscious of themselves. They're self-aware.
Yes. Self-aware would be...
Self-aware.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like I said, the remnants has become self-aware because of COVID. Everyone's like, what? They're bullshitting? It's like,
sorry.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the club.
I don't know if you...
so while you're doing that, I want to say one thing before we lose
go
this
for it.
thread.
It's not necessarily...
So I was saying that so Cole was saying I believe it's God. And I'm saying you're almost forced to believe in God when you peel away. That's why they created the Darwinian evolution, because as soon as that's gone, you're like, you are naked and alone. You're like, oh my gosh, there's something.
There's no purpose.
No other explanation. But then also, this would explain why my mother, who doesn't believe in any of my everything is fake stuff, except for one thing, which I didn't believe her. I was like, I think everything's fake, but that's ridiculous. I said to my mom, and now I'm like, she's 100% right. Dinosaurs are fake. And I realized why she thinks that, because she believes in the Bible.
Yeah.
So she believes it that way. But I just concluded they're ridiculous. Like the moon landing. It's like, wait a second, what now?
Which is also my point about the alien thing. Is if you're a believer in God and Christ, you should not believe in aliens. Then just by context.
This is
right,
where I stray, because I think if there are aliens, like what we see, I think there's some sort of angels or... Like, this is legitimately what I believe, is I believe there's some sort of angels and or demons and or some sort of extra, like, spiritual thing. And I think they both show up in more so whenever you take psychedelic drugs. I think that's actually, especially DMT, I think there's a plane of existence.
I found the article, by the way, but finish.
That is kind of, like, removed, and then we see the religious realm after that, whatever, like the fourth, not necessarily fourth dimension of time, but like just another dimension. And I think that's also kind of like what they may see, like it maybe that might like actually gray head aliens, but maybe that's what a fucking angel looks like or something. But yeah, that's what that's what I've always believed.
Beings.
But
Angels,
that would still
Jesus,
be...
these are interdimensional beings.
But that would still be a religious thing, though, right?
I'm saying
right,
it is.
alien,
I think it is.
You shouldn't believe in aliens. I'm saying if you're a religious person, then you technically shouldn't believe in the thought of aliens. Like, hey, they have a like Superman.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying, I'm saying like it's not like coming from another planet. It's coming from another like dimension, like interdimensional,
like
and the
ether.
dimension could just be the next.
Right.
The religious dimension. You know?
I don't think there's anything in the Bible that says that we're the only planet that God messed around
well, he
with.
says, I created you in my image. It's like one of the cornerstones of his thing, right? It's like I created...
And he created the angels, not necessarily in his image, so it could be...
You're right. Dude, you're right. You're right.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe he created lizards.
You're right. You're right. I was thinking of like intelligent, like, not crocodiles.
But that's like, I've always... not always, but like after looking into it, I'm kind of like, man, like,
maybe
kind of makes sense to me. Like maybe if we see them, and then like our government is like, but the problem is the government saying like, yeah, we see them, the same thing you did. Like whenever they mention like, oh yeah, we have all this stuff on them. They just did like a complete 180 on everything, and they're like, no, we have all the documents. They're right here. These things are real. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck is going on now? Why would you just drop this on us out of the blue? Because it was out of nowhere. I guess it wasn't even during like a big, I can't remember. Would you say it was in 2017, Monica, when they did that?
When they did what?
When they were like UFOs are real. Or I thought it was during COVID when they finally.
Oh yeah, probably. I can't remember exactly when, but I mean, it started coming across my radar a few years ago. And then now with the China balloon, they were just like, not ruling out extraterrestrials. It's like, it's a weather balloon. Like you're not ruling out extraterrestrials. You don't need some You said you missed it because it was moving so slowly. Like this is not tech that we need to explain.
I also said this before on a podcast, but I was like, so you're telling me there's again an advanced species that could traverse the galaxy with faster than light, could bend gravity, no propulsion, all this shit. But it's going to get shot down by something from 2007 built in Iowa. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and where's it
shut up. No,
why
it's not.
Now? Why not? That's why we know time travel doesn't exist, right? Because people would be popping in and out. Like, why would they just not have popped out into? Why?
Some people say that is what it is.
Oh,
these
that they're
UFOs.
popping in and out.
That
But why now? Why at this exact moment when
It's
when our propaganda is so full of shit? Like, why at this exact moment is it all of a sudden? You know what I mean? It's just if they were real, it would kind of be outside of time, just the way anything interdimensional is outside of time.
Top says time travel exists, but I don't know.
I think
Maybe-
time travel exists theoretically because it would just be a fourth dimension if we can move.
But wouldn't you only be able to go
planes.
forward, not back? Because back you would need the
No,
technology would need to be back.
Theoretically, I'm saying if it's a fourth dimension of time, in our 3 dimensions, we can move forward, back, up, and down. Doesn't matter.
Top said Donald Trump is a time traveler. Monica, shake my head.
Maybe.
Let me read this crow thing real quick. So,
Hey, Dave.
crows and other corvids, they know what they know and can ponder the content of their own minds. This is considered a cornerstone of self-awareness and shared by just a handful of animal species besides us. And they have the same between 200 to 300 million neurons per hemisphere, which is the same as like a gorilla.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're super fucking smart, and they use tools. Here's my favorite fun fact about crows, though, or raven, whatever corvids, is if you're cool with them, right? Like if you fuck with them and like you're cool, like in a good way, they fuck with you in a cool way. Like they'll bring you stuff.
Really?
They'll bring you.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be useless to you, but they'll bring you stuff,
Right?
Shiny stuff. and
Because
they'll
I
teach-
sheave them.
No, don't. And they'll
Wow.
teach their children to be cool with you. But
Yeah,
guess what? If you're a dick, same. They'll
There
fuck
was
with you,
a
and
guy-
they'll teach their kids to fuck with you too.
People,
Wow.
I remember seeing a story about a guy in like New York that he taught it like a crow to like literally go and pick up coins on the ground and come back and give it to him. And so he like it was like every day he would get like 30. This came cut off. But I did cut off other sleeves.
I cut off mine too because I have tattoos and I think it looks cool. Don't listen to him, Cole. I'm on your side on this one, honestly.
But what about pit hair? What about pit hair? Do you have pit hair, Cole?
I buzz it.
That's kind of
100%.
gross.
I
So
buzz mine.
you take it out.
I buzz it.
Do you shave your arms too?
I do
like
shave
a
my arms.
faggot?
I have Yeah. Yeah, I have
Right.
tattoos. It looks better without hair.
Okay.
No, I also have.
That's
I
an
have
okay
chest,
thing
I have
too,
chest
not an
hair
okay thing to
too.
do.
Like
I don't care what Cole thinks. I'll
I
fight
don't.
Cole.
I don't keep hairy. I don't mind.
I also
Just saying
buzz my chest
generally-
in the summertime. What's up?
In the men's world, is it optional if you're in a locker room and some guy buzzes their pit hair? Is that okay?
I've always saw that as gay. Every time. I remember
Then
as a
I'm
kid,
gay
I
as
remember,
Gay
fuck.
like homosexual or gay?
gay as
just
in homosexual
gay?
and
Cool.
gay
Then
as
I'm sucking dicks because I buzz my pits. I shave
Right,
my arms.
that's what
I
I'm
buzz my. I don't
wondering.
have that much back hair, but I shave that too. And in summertime, all this comes off. It is gone. I'm
No.
a hairless little boy.
I remember there was one kid in like middle school that we knew that he shaved his arms, and we all like just ragged on that guy. Like,
Because he's
it
not
was just
covered
like
in tattoos, Cole. It's weird for a middle schooler to do that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're not even supporting the.
No.
He's like, you know what? Now that you're
so it's
not
only
in middle
fine.
school,
Like, why do you do it without just for tattoos? It's just
Because it
cover
looks
up?
bad.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
looks
it looks
better.
bad.
Oh, I didn't know that. You should just. I never really thought about that. The whole tattoo part. I guess
Yeah.
that would look bad. Some people also say that you get more muscle definition if you do shave
Clear, I
as
see that.
well.
see when you see
clear.
a black guy with tats like that,
Clear, no
don't you
on there.
feel like they're a little bit getting scammed?
Yes, all the time. Vince Young. I was like, why'd you get that rose tattoo on your chest? It's crazy. It's black.
Yeah, you can't see it.
Black.
Do you think it's a
just-
bigger
No.
scam for black people to get tattoos or to get that all black sleeve? Do you think that's more?
Oh
of a bigger
yeah,
scam?
yeah. That's
Yeah.
why a lot of them just
Well,
get
maybe
that branding
that's just
thing,
to look
which is crazy.
blacker, which could be cool.
Well, it's very weird though. They get the full black sleeve, which has to be Adam. You can project. How much would that be to get a completely black sleeve out? So they're
Oh,
like,
a lot, 1,000.
yeah,
more,
to
more
eat
so?
your
1,000?
entire
That's not
arm.
that
It's
bad.
Yeah,
completely
more
black.
so probably. Yeah,
Would it
Yeah,
hurt a
that's-
lot?
yeah. So okay, when I was younger and I had more muscle tone on me, it didn't hurt as much. Now I'm a
really?
little bitch, and all my tattoos hurt. And
Hurt
I use
more
numbing
worse.
cream. I use numbing cream to not feel it. Yeah.
All right, so I do stuff that you need that for, laser hair removal, like girl
Oh,
stuff,
I thought you
but
were
I
talking
won't
about
do
other
the
stuff.
numbing cream. I think it's just
Don't
fucking
care.
suck it up.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
I did so much of my body. I have my
Yeah.
ribs. I have my back. I have
I
my
heard the
leg.
ribs are the worst, aren't they?
It was. I'll never do my ribs
Tickly?
again. If that answered your question,
See,
I'll never do my ribs again.
Look at Zach.
I'll never tattoo my ribs again. What is it?
He had
got
a
a permanent
friend.
in-school suspension for getting a tongue ring. I legit had a school friend with a tattoo.
That's
You have
pretty
trash
cool.
friends. I don't know.
Yeah,
What you
Middle
say, Zach?
school. That's like those little kid. Like you ever see that little kid who like looks like Cole, super
Jesus
buff,
God.
but he smokes cigarettes and
Yeah.
shit. You ever see that? Like he's got a mullet.
Brandon. What's weird is Brandy's come back. I guess it ever leave. I guess Brandon because then like, but
I see a
black
lot of
guys
it
get it. Black
because
guys like
you can see it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
It looks
yeah.
pretty. It looks pretty fucking cool too.
Yeah. What's the conspiracy here?
That they're it's that sociology where they're just going back to their slave times.
Or it's the
That's
Emperor's New
Brandon.
Clothes. It's very
It's-
Emperor's New Clothesy.
I don't get. Yeah, I don't get. I love tattoos because you can see them on me. I don't
Monica,
know.
I did UFOs because this is a story that I don't know if I told this to you before, but I've told it on. I don't know if I told it on our podcast, but about my aunt and uncle live out in the butt fucking nowhere, Virginia, and like literally just within in a valley of out in the nowhere, just the boondocks. And they said they were out one night and they saw like 3 lights that were like trolling around, like red, blue, and white, and it was coming closer to them, and it did. Finally got close enough, and it was a huge like 50 foot by 50 foot by 50 foot triangle, like right above the tree line, and it like came over their house, and it moved very slowly. It was very silent, but it was like on the edges they had lights, and then there was a big light in the middle, and they said just kind of it followed down the easement and it went up, and they said it was very creepy. And then I looked it up. And you can find articles about how this has happened all over the U.S. And they just nobody talks about it. It was an article from like 2002, and then someone said it was like, oh, this is like military tech, and I was like, that doesn't make very. I mean, maybe, but it's very weird to me that like they just have this tech of like completely silent travel, for huge things, and we never seen it used
Cole, no, it's funny because I usually tend to agree with you, but then like you hear stories about how they had like flat screen tech in the 50s, and the government came in and was like hours now, and then we didn't get it until 2000.
That's true. My father-in-law did tell me that they were video calling in the 90s from ships to like his wife, so that they were like just like this. They said probably not as high definition,
probably not as good, right?
But they were like, he was like video calling in the 90s. He was like years before.
How about again? We talked about them calling. That was probably fake, but them calling the moon from
the moon phone. Yeah,
but that's probably fake for sure. But okay, I'll say this: Ronald Reagan had a goddamn plane on the fucking phone on his goddamn Air Force One, like a landline. How?
James Bond had it in his.
The fuck did he have a landline in the airplane in like 70s and 80s? Like it doesn't.
Yeah,
like,
James Bond had it in the 60s. So I would say my opinion of the moon landing, notwithstanding, I do feel like they had only because they didn't have the fuel, but maybe they did. But I feel like they are, or I've heard that they are at least decades ahead of what they share with us. And I would just ask you, and by the way, my grandfather is very religious, but he had an experience like that too. And he absolutely believed in aliens. And he was like, it does not conflict with my belief in God, whatever. But I would just say, is it more or less within the realm of what we know that it could be something that the military has developed, or not only something that some other race, species, whatever developed, but that first the other species had to be developed. It's within the realm of possibility that the military did that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's completely speculative that you needed a whole nother race and that race existed first.
The thing because they were like, the problem is there is no like military bases, Air Force bases, any type of military thing around where
it doesn't matter. The stealth bomber used
That's
to
true.
take off from like Arizona to bomb Iraq and then come back without stopping.
Yeah, in like one trip. They used to
That's the
fuel it midair.
entire Earth. Like
That's
you
true.
got
So they just thought it was very weird, and it was very just out in the open, like just like right there.
Right,
they could see
it
it.
is weird. Wow, dude, last summer, right here in my neighbor's house, we were sitting outside on their deck, and I was high. And that's not gonna fuck the story up. So I want to hear you were high. It's irrelevant. Stop. I smoke so much weed. It's like it's whatever. It's normal for me. So we're sitting out there, and they're all talking, and I'm just like looking up in the sky and like the stars, and just gazing, zoning out, being like, "This is cool." And then all of a sudden, I see this little light just traveling very fast, very high up, like in the star, like, like not like in the sky, like beyond the sky. And I'm
saw a shooting star.
No. It was consistently,
They
and it
said
was like
rocket?
solid the whole time. Where I went, hey, you guys seeing this? Like I'm trying to point, and they're all looking. I'm like right there, and like they listen. I don't blame them for me trying to point out a small ass star moving in this. Like you're not gonna be able with other stars. Very hard to see, but I saw it go a very far traveling distance
That's a
across the sky.
satellite.
I
Yeah,
don't.
sure, that, yeah.
I
No,
don't.
that's a satellite. Satellite looks like star, and I was tripping. I mean,
Yeah, but
I know what
but
you're
don't
saying.
they usually come
I've
in and
seen
out real
that.
quick? This was a steady, super
Yes,
fast.
I will tell you. I ate mushrooms when I was in law school. With some people, they would literally put them in the. They were so professional about it. These are just classmates of mine would grind it up in a coffee grinder and then put it in the orange juice. I don't know how they were like dosing that, but we ended up in the mountains, and in California, like in Northern California, it was so like dry, and everything in the mountains, it felt like a movie set. It was freaky. Like the air was exactly like 72 degrees, whatever. We were up all night, as you can imagine. And after I panicked about having like hundreds of thousands of dollars of school loans, and I just kind of settled into what was happening, and I kicked back and just looked at the sky. My friend and I just watched one of the stars just migrate slowly across the sky. And it was not Venus because even Venus was migrating across the sky. But this one was going faster, like much faster, actually. And that looked exactly like a star, but it was moving faster than the stars. And it was a satellite. Now, are you saying that does not fit the bill of what you're talking about?
Because I've seen shooting stars, which are usually set, but they're like quick in and out or like a streak. This was like a steady, consistent flight pattern, but it wasn't straight.
The satellites are in orbit, and the orbit is just.
But it wasn't
fast.
Straight the whole time. It went
I bet
straight
you, like,
and
an
then broke
astrophysicist, we
out.
sound like complete retards right now.
Yeah, no, we are.
Like,
we are
They're just like just listen to Adam, like
for sure. For
What
sure.
does that say? I don't know that. I don't know. Maybe I missed.
It was
yeah,
traveling very very fast across in a straight line, and then it went like right and then like just gone. It
And
didn't
what
just-
drugs were you on?
Just weed. I was just smoking weed.
now
Because you could have lost focus for a second.
No, I was
No.
so like that's fucking it. Like I was there like look at this. Like I was like trying to get
Did
people
someone
to-
else see it?
No, they couldn't track where I was trying to point. It was just
Right,
a fucking
right, I
open
understand.
night sky.
Yeah, I understand completely.
It's like that blade of grass. It's the same thing. Like
Monica, you're into skinwalkers too, aren't you? Like the
No, I
Skinwalker Ranch?
don't know anything about my son
Okay.
who has Down syndrome. So he is actually retarded. He loves skinwalkers, and I don't know
Okay, I
what
was
they
wondering-
are.
Okay, I didn't know if you got into that because I was about to be like, okay, so what do you think of like
I'm
how does
trying
that
to
like,
figure it out.
it
Explain
interests
it
me.
to me.
Dude,
It's
this
Navajo.
like-
It's a Navajo thing.
and it's like they're like Skinwalker Ranch, which you can go
I've
there
heard
and
of
like,
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and they're like, no, it's like legit, like things happened all the time. I remember there was who was it that was telling the story? But they're talking about that they were out there and there was one of those shipping containers, those big, and they just stored stuff in it. And it was out there, and then like that they was in one place, everybody knew it. The next morning it had moved like completely like to a different place, and they were like, no fucking clue. Then like you see like random things walk around. People have said there's a great guy to follow on Instagram. His name's Faceless, but he tells a story about he went down into some large like drainage tunnels, like drainage pipes that were not used. I think they had been abandoned. And he said there would be things down there, like which it could just be homeless people. I mean, that's a
Right.
very. But he was like, it was way deep, farther than any like homeless person would go because it's completely almost pitch black. There's
Right,
no
you
reason
start
to be down
losing
there.
pigmentation.
Yeah,
Right,
and,
yeah,
and they're
like a
like,
mole person, yeah.
and they're very, and he was like, it was tall and skinny, and like, well, like this is a very weird thing, and it happens especially in the like around desert region. He lives in Arizona, I think,
Yeah.
and so like, and I think Skinwalker Ranch is in either Arizona or Texas.
No,
But,
I don't think it's
Arizona-
Texas. I think it's
it's
I
not
think it's out in New
Texas.
Mexico or Arizona.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, one of those
Yeah.
southern like really.
Yeah, it's for
Southwest.
sure one of those two. Positive or Nevada,
Yeah.
but I doubt.
And I-
I
and
doubt
I
No,
always
no,
like
not
it's-
Nevada.
yeah.
It's just like always a weird because I was like, what's the connection there between like I don't know, is it extraterrestrial? Is it just that's true? How old is your son, Monica?
20.
He still lives with you?
He's going to be living with me forever. Forever. But he loves werewolves. He thinks that they're related to werewolves.
I have a
He
werewolf
thinks
tattoo
they're
on my
like-
back.
You have a werewolf on your back?
I have a werewolf tattoo on my back.
Oh my gosh, I've got to tell you. So when COVID happened and they just had a mask mandate here. I don't know if this happened everywhere, but it's just like,
No, we
oh,
don't live in California.
yeah, you just had I couldn't go into the store to buy the fucking masks because I had to take my
Yeah.
son's shirt off his body and put it on my face to go get to buy the thing. But so we told him, like, go run inside, get your mask. We've got to go someplace. He comes out with a werewolf mask on.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
So great.
And I
He's
was
the
like,
coolest guy ever.
fine. Like, it's fine.
Perfect.
That's what they want. That's what they got, baby.
So Monica,
Like, your free flag fly.
skinwalkers are allegedly, supposedly, it's only Navajos. So, like, there aren't skinwalkers in New York. Like, that doesn't, like,
Right,
if
okay.
someone says that, it's like bullshit, right? It's
Right.
only supposed to be the Navajo region because it's directly related to the Navajo, and it's witch doctors who went dark, like it's who cannibalized a human being, and then they could take the skin of another animal or whatever,
Whoa.
and yeah, and like if you hear stories of people seeing potential skinwalkers in that region, they have like the mauled jaw, like that whole thing, like, you know, the gaping weird limb, how they walk, and, you know, like you like they're like, that's a coyote. It doesn't really look like a coyote, you know, shit like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah, there's that
Right.
great
Yeah.
video. I think I sent it. You probably have seen it, of the one
I've
that
seen
walks.
every video out there.
Oh man, there's the one of like someone's taking like from their back porch or like through like their window, and you can see something like walk like
Yes.
across, and it's very, you know which one I'm talking about,
Yes.
and it's like it's human like it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's still
It's
it's
very
bipedal, and
So it's a little
but,
werewolfy.
yes,
It could
but no,
be,
not,
yeah.
but no hair. Like it's not hairy. It's not like it's just
not,
like
it's not like a hulking. That's
Okay.
more Dogman. You're talking Dogman now.
Dogman's
We
cool.
can talk Dogman for hours.
Okay, but people could do that. You could have a witch doctor kill somebody, eat their soul, wear their skin, and think and maybe there is magic. Like, it is possible that you, because that's the thing. I've actually, it could be a coincidence, but I believe that I have experienced the power of prayer so many times that there has to be.
you still praying
could
for your
be wrong.
down son to get cured.
What?
Yeah, that was so fucked up.
Praying for my son to get
but-
cured of Down syndrome? Yeah, my mother did that.
So
and I was
mean.
like,
I couldn't
not-
help it. It was too easy. It was
Yeah,
right there.
that's going too far. She says, and we can have a physical miracle. And I'm like, I don't think it works that way. She's like, well, at least get his eyes fixed. I'm like,
Wouldn't that
would
be
make it
wouldn't
so
that be
much
pretty wild
worse.
though? You just wake up one morning and
You'd be
he's just
better.
like, "Hey mom, what's
Yeah.
up? Like, I'm gonna go to work today." And
God
he's just,
would
like,
never
completely
do that because he's so much better than an ordinary human being. Like, God wouldn't do that because
he's
my son's like, it has no ego. He doesn't lie. He's super generous. You know, like
It's
he's,
true. We're trash.
He's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ideal. Like, yeah, he's not that smart, but he's got
Pure.
a slave, so he's fine.
Yeah, no,
But-
we're idiots. We're the idiots.
But I believe that the power of prayer that I've experienced, because what she really does is pray for the drug addicts in my family to recover. And I'm like, that's not going to work either, because this is what I think happens.
Drugs are
This is-
awesome.
Right. That's also true. I was just telling my son today, drugs are good or they wouldn't exist. So you've got to use them wisely, but don't the whole whatever. I don't want to say that. I want to say the V word because then you just have to take this down for everything. But I believe that the power of prayer I have experienced is this: when there is no physical miracles, I don't want to. The gospel this week was don't put the Lord thy God to the test. Like, I'm not ever asking for physical miracle. But I believe that when no will is opposed to what you're praying for, you have a good chance of getting it. So if you're praying for some drug addict who wants to do drugs, to stop doing drugs, that's never going to happen. But if you're praying for someone to have the strength to get through an experience, and that's what they want too, I think you can help them, send them energy. I don't know what it is, but it seems to me I've seen differences being made that way. So I feel like there could be things that are beyond our understanding, the purely physical plane. So maybe eating people and wearing their skin does give you some kind of dark magic. I don't know.
Oh hell, the Top believes it too. I know we talked about it, about how it's kind of a meme and it's almost like coming true. I know Travis confirmed Hanklet, I think is the name on Twitter.
Yep.
Like the people in power are not just like, when we say literal demons, we believe that they are
Totally believe it.
literal demons.
Literal
Like, they are-
pedophile demons. I mean that with every core of my
like
being.
the
Yeah.
demon
Wow.
part is true. They are
Yeah.
religious, like either possessed or real life, just like same thing would be skinwalkers of like they just put on human skin. It's like people say they're reptilians. Like, well, that could just be like they're literally demons.
Reptilians could be alien skinwalkers.
Yeah. But and I was like, and I truly believe that some of this part of it, like there was some demonic something. I mean, what's going on at Bohemian Grove is not like is it, okay.
Keep
like what's
going.
going on at
Luke, you
Bohemian
want to say
Grove
hi?
is not like just some guys doing a thing, which
Right,
I know
it's like
was
it's
Richard
real.
Nixon that say was like he was like it's the faggiest thing that can happen. Is that what was that Richard Nixon's what he said?
Oh, a bunch of fags.
So look at that, dude.
What's up, dude?
Fucking awesome. Go get your
What's up,
werewolf
brother,
mask. That's what I want to see. Like, I wanna see
Yeah, go get your wolf mask, dude.
He's like, oh yeah.
He's like, fuck. He's like, I heard W, and I was already on the way to get it.
Does he like Wendigos? Is it like that kind of thing too? You know what a Wendigo is?
I mean, I do. You know,
it sounds
I do.
Australian.
No. Wendigo. It's kind of like a skinwalker, but it's more like a cannibalistic, just woods dwelling creature.
Yeah, send Top. Just send Top.
Yeah, why isn't Top in this?
Yeah, just
episode?
send literally. If you want to send Top the link, he will hop
it's
on.
Bendigo.
Top, you
Is that Rick
Top,
and
you want the
Morty?
link? Just say yes or no in the thing. I'll send it to you if you want.
Wendigo is basically so it was another Indian thing. It was another Native American thing. Sorry, Indian, whatever.
No, it's fine. They said that was fine. Maybe they're changing it now. But
okay, never mind. Indians then.
No,
No dot Indians.
No, that's not okay.
Oh.
American, because I always say, why do you call them Native Americans? Because America is Amerigo Vespucci. You think that's
like,
what there are a bunch of different tribes.
Italians. Thank you,
can
Monica.
go through.
We are
Yeah,
my
there you
Italian
go.
brethren.
You're an Italian colony. That makes you feel better. Forget it. There's no winning.
But what the Wendigo is supposedly like when you become so. I think it was with greed. Is what they would like usually the thing that would and you would go out into the forest and it was like the forest would in nature would like consume you or something like that and you become like this weird like amalgamation of like different animal parts but it was like
antlered.
Like
I'll pull up a
antlers
picture of
and like long like limbs that are almost like tree limbs and they
like
would
a jackalope.
Yeah, kind of, and they would, and like they would eat kids, like they're supposed to the whole thing, and that was this whole, and so Wendigos, and they look really cool, like if you like horror, but like it was something that it was another one of the they call them cryptids, which kind of includes all like skinwalkers and someone talked about how there was an episode of Tinfoil Hat where at Skinwalker Ranch the dude talks about every cryptid monsters. Sam freaks out over, which is I could see that, but like
it looks like there's
Monica.
a girl in the audience. So you have people with Down syndrome who watch your show, Adam.
That's a good. They're good
that's
friends.
Most
of
the people that watch the show.
I was gonna say, I try to watch what he watches on TV, and I'm like, who is the target? There just aren't enough people who have Down syndrome for him to be the target audience.
If that's Olivia, that's her sister Megan.
Yeah. Oh, it's your sister.
About.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. This is what Wendigos look like. Yes, Monica, they are like these things.
Look, they're talking about Wendigos. Do you know what a Wendigo is?
Oh, yeah.
He does.
Look at that.
Of course
Hell
he
yeah.
Cool.
No, keep the hat on. They want to see the mask.
No, let me see the
First,
cool
he wants
werewolf
to see the Wendigo. It's right there, see?
Yeah. A Wendigo is a Canadian legend that is personified by cannibalism.
Why weren't you on the podcast?
Get the hat.
Personification of cannibalism back in Canadian literature.
Okay, it's the personification of cannibalism in Canadian literature. Okay, you totally rant, so I can't have that. But get the hat.
You totally ran.
His hilarious.
I wonder where you got that from, Monica.
And it basically means Wendigo means cannibalism. So,
okay, you already said that. Get the hat for crying out loud.
I'm trying to think. I might be thinking of a different because there's another one that is greed, and there was another.
It's definitely cannibalism.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, there's cannibalism, and there's Wendigo, and then there's like.
I'm a fanatic of werewolves, so.
Sorry, it was from the Wendigoon. Which, if Monica doesn't know who Wendigoon is, definitely look him up. He's fucking great.
YouTube, that's a sick mask.
Yo, and he went out
is
with
it
that?
animatronic? Does it make faces?
Well, it's supposed to be because I don't see any batteries in here.
There's no batteries in there, but it is supposed to like try to open your mouth. Try to open your.
That's awesome.
I
Okay,
want one.
Wait, and
He
wait,
used
so he went out like that. He was like, you were like,
yeah,
get a mask.
he
and
wanted to go to the store like that. What we did not realize though is that I used to make him walk the dog around the block, and I didn't know he was wearing that mask. He's got the dog. He gets a stick and he starts like, I don't know why he was doing this. He was like hitting a bush at somebody, and this entire neighborhood is Chinese. They do not speak English. And he's like there with the werewolf mask. Yeah, but I think they knew he was mostly human. Yeah. But there are not a lot of kids like that in China. I can tell you. They will tell me that. They're like, they hug me. People will hug me. They're just like, oh, it's so nice. I'm like, it's so nice that he's alive. Is that what you're?
Yeah. They
Okay. So
they take care of him. I'll tell you.
They do a lot of old Spartan shit.
No, they're not. The ones
do a
here.
little twist
No,
to the
here
heady, and it's no
they-
more.
They like it here. What?
A Wendigo is a Canadian legend.
Oh, we already
and
said that.
I mean, he's nailing it.
Personification of Kimberson.
He's nailing it.
You're out. You're right. Cut out. You said the same thing like 4 times. Get out of here.
But sick mask though, seriously, that's a
It is.
sick,
Sick mask.
I want
They
one
love
for
your
real.
mask. If
I
you
want
want me
one.
to take you out for a hamburger, you got to go sit and watch TV for 5 minutes.
I want a hamburger.
10, 15. I bribed him. I was like, sit quietly and watch TV. Don't
Damn.
pop into the room, but he's popping in anyway.
Top, I sent you an invite by the way. If you want to jump in for the last few minutes or so.
Oh,
Stop
that's amazing.
talking to me.
So he did that with. So is it also werewolves? He could go off like on werewolves for like.
Yeah, is that any cryptid? I could just be like Bigfoot, go. It's like
You know, that would be.
Marvel hero is your favorite.
Oh, forget it. Who or Spider-Man? Who?
First of all, Spider-Man. Hold on, Spider-Man. I have a lot in common with your son. Spider-Man.
Okay, he wants to know who's your favorite superhero, Batman or Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. I have Spider-Man
Oh,
tattooed
Spider-Man.
on me.
Spider-Man,
He loves
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man too.
Fuck,
Don't
yo,
even get him started.
Your son rules. He's my next guest.
Actually,
Don't
I'm not
He's
even that big
donating.
a fan of Batman, so I'm just gonna put that out there.
Spider-Man's
Batman-
better.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, kids with Down syndrome, he in particular, are very funny. And like, as long as it's not too like goofing on him, you could goof on him a little bit and it could be humorous. So,
So Megan, who's Livia's sister, who we were just talking about, and then we'll get back to conspiracy stuff. She did the funniest goddamn thing the other day. So my dog plays with their dog a lot. They're friends. And I was like, Megan, you want to give my dog's name is Pinot, like Pinot some bread like, for a treat? So she goes, yeah, sure. And just takes the bread and then just eats it. I was like, no, that was for Pinot. And then she goes, oh. And like takes it out. I was like, hold on, that's yours now. But here's more. It was funny.
Did she funny though? Like he knows.
No,
that-
she laughed like once
You know
she
it's
realized like we were like I laughed
Yeah.
and like her like then she just broke down laughing.
Monica,
It was
have you
so
ever
fucking funny.
looked into the Down syndrome drag shows?
Uh,
Look at her face.
They were not permitted. Like I think somebody put a stop to that.
Really?
Because they weren't voluntary. The kids were being.
I'm not surprised, but there's that whole I think it was Vice did a whole thing on it.
Well, when it first came out, it was where it first started. It was stopped because they were encouraging these kids to do it when the kids themselves. And I saw that, like my son, one time during the Parkland thing, he walked out. Tom,
oh,
they walked out of school. They supposedly all these kids walked out in protest for gun control or
yeah, I remember
whatever.
that.
My son, who has a 24/7 aide, walked out. Okay. And then at another time, he was bad in gym. So they moved him from regular PE to ROTC to F with me. And he comes home asking for like different machine guns and stuff for Christmas. So if they told him to be in a drag show, he would do it. Like it's not, that's just.
Would he say he liked it if he was in it? Would he be like,
Well,
oh yeah, I
because
love
he
doing
likes
it?
to be on stage. Yeah, he loves.
okay.
To be
Oh,
on stage. He
that
asks
makes-
me all the time, like, when's my next talent show? When's my next award
I see.
ceremony?
Because
like
they were
he-
talking, they would talk about how like, oh, see,
Yeah.
they love it, and they would always talk about how they love it. But then like, and
Yeah,
Top,
but why not-
Top saw the video. Like it's pretty.
Why not introduce them to Shakespeare?
mic's
Like
off,
they
Top.
like that too.
But
Oh, yeah.
also I could talk kids into liking anything.
Yeah,
Like,
I was.
kids are dumb.
Yeah, if you
You're
get,
bringing
if
it
you
up.
Yeah,
get a lot
you
of
did
feedback
grow up in the
for it-
Catholic Church. You would know that you can.
I don't care about drag shows. I've been to drag shows. Like that's not my problem. My problem is that of course, if you give somebody something that they are loving, wanting, craving
Mhm.
attention and approbation and a lot of positive feedback only in the context of a drag show and not in the context of Romeo and Juliet, which every kid I know who has Down syndrome understands Romeo and Juliet, they would love that. That would be super cool. But nobody's going out of their way for that.
Now I feel bad that we want to because we were saying that. Well, there was also the Down syndrome cooking. So it was the Down kids that would go and do cooking videos, which is really cool. And so we said that for if we ever do a Tower Gang like event, we would have the catered by Down kids. And then the entertainment would be a Down drag show, and it said it would be the best night ever. Like
it would be a great night, and I have no problem with it.
By the way, what's fucked up is like all these fucking lefty libertarians and lefty liberals will be like, "That's you exploiting." It's like we're actually hiring people of needs to perform a duty. What are you doing? Lip service? Shut the fuck up.
I do a podcast with the guy with Down syndrome.
No way. Oh
yeah, right here.
The 6-year-old with the mullet and the cigarette and the light leader.
I guess I said this before, but my mother-in-law legit, whenever I was dating my now wife, she like whenever I left one day from their house, she was like, she's a teacher, and so she was like, I've seen like kids that have like autism and like mental problems. Cole's been tested, right? And she asked my wife that, and my wife was like,
and she was like, "Good question. We actually are going Saturday."
Cole does have that demeanor because like Downs people are so nice, and Cole, look at that smile on his face.
Yeah,
he wakes up like that. I wake up fucking miserable. He just wakes up like, "What's life got for me today?"
It's just a little too smooth. He's just got not enough wrinkles in his brain to be sad deeply.
Dude, Cole growing a beard was the best decision for him.
Oh my God. It like covered up.
It covers up half of his face.
Covers up the fetal alcohol syndrome.
I was gonna ask you, Monica, does your son go on dates? Like, is this a thing?
The girls love him. There's so many more girls than boys, and he's super cute. But he's in love with a girl who the parents are a little in denial about. I really don't know.
She's into werewolves as I am. I don't think.
Well, she's in the regular classes. Like she goes to the regular classes, and he goes to the disability classes. And I think they want her to hang around with the regular kids. So he's got all these girls with Down syndrome, and she has Down syndrome. He's in love with this girl who has Down syndrome, but I think that
tell her no hoe's worth it, Monica.
Huh?
Tell her no hoe's worth it.
No, but it's sweet because he's truly, truly, madly, deeply in love, but none of the other girls have a chance because he's so in love.
Oh my God!
I know.
So
it's unrequited, which is good. Otherwise, I'd have to deal with him pawing some poor innocent girl. So
one of my favorite shows is Love on the Spectrum.
Oh yes,
absolutely,
yes.
because they're so honest, and that's autism, but the honesty is great. They're like, I like movies like I don't want to be on this date anymore. And you're like, yeah, bro, you get it. I'm like, that's what I want to say all the time.
Yeah, I'm a little afraid I have a little bit of that autism because I do say stupid things like that. Okay.
Well, we could really cut if we were all acting like that. We could cut down on all the relationships that did not work for all of us.
Yeah.
Cut it down to like 30 seconds.
No,
that's why they gave it to everybody.
My favorite part of
that's
that show.
That's why they put it in the vaccines.
I'm telling you, my favorite part of that show is when they clearly one party gets disinterested in the date because they're so visibly they don't understand the social cues to hold it in. They just go like they're engaged, just like. like right away.
They just shut it off.
They just go to their phone. They're like looking at waterfalls and shit. It's the funny. I'm like, dude, I want that so bad.
My first girlfriend did that to me. I was like, she strung me along for like a year and a half. I was like, I'm gonna break up with this bitch for a year and a half until finally she did the thing like I'm gonna kill myself if I do. And I just said, all right, go ahead. And I hung up, and that was that. Never spoke to her again. I don't know if she's alive or not.
Did she kill
whatever.
herself?
No, she's fine.
It's not good. It's hard. People can very easily exploit saying that. I'm not a fan of capitulating to those kind of threats. I'm not suggesting anybody treat anybody any different. But like, someone says that to me, I'm like, I gotta go.
She absolutely may have. She may have like done it at the time, but I was like, listen, this is just too much of my time that you're wasting. And
here's Megan, Monica.
Hi, Megan. Hi. Fantastic to meet you.
Get your son in here with that awesome werewolf mask.
Oh my gosh, you do not want any more. I could drag him back, but it's just there's a lot of transition. So,
Monica, what do you do then if like let's say because one of my friends, her sister is Down syndrome, and she's like super social. She's got like a crazy dating life. And it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. But I'm like, well, what happens if like this goes to the next level? Like, what do you do? Like, because you're chaperoning these dates, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
so
that's a good question.
Yeah.
yeah.
I haven't. He's 20, but I think he's just done a little cheek kissing. Yeah, there's definitely very serious chaperoning. Because what else do you do? I think he just got like a bus card in the mail today.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something else.
No, just a bus. Like, so I think he's gonna have a little more freedom, which is the problem.
Oh man, he's gonna be smashing so much. Oh my god,
he's so cute too. But so almost no people. Like, I think there's only been one case of a male with Down syndrome fathering a child. But I'm like, if anyone could do it, I'm afraid he could do it. And then he was like 50-50.
There's only one case.
How,
Oh, it's because
that's
they
crazy.
just like it's not. They're not.
They have kind of shriveled up nuts.
Oh, I was like,
Did I
oh,
know that?
Is that what the?
There you go. I feel like it's just us. You know.
Oh, that's fine. No, it's like,
There's only like three. No one listens to this shit.
I want to put it in my feed, but now I'm starting to think.
No, I'm legitimately curious because like I said, my friend, her sister is Down syndrome, but she's just like the nicest person. Every time I see her, I'll sit down and hang out with her for like 3 hours. Like, what are we doing?
I'll get super paranoid about the world, and you'll just be like, everybody's lying, whatever. And then you'll just like see him, and you know that he's not lying to you about anything.
Did y'all ever fuck up and actually like call a kid retarded that was not actually retarded? Like, not like because I'll say this: what happened was, so I had a friend growing up. It was twin brothers, and one is like totally normal. The other one has like kind of like really bad autism. Like, he's completely functional, but he has like very I remember like I was like 10 or 11 and I was like, oh yeah, the retarded kid. And my mom was like, he's not retarded. Don't say that. And I just felt very, and like now thinking back on it, I was like, oh, I feel bad because the kid was very nice. And it was just autism. It was just like what I have too. So.
Those people, I'm not worried about. It's the
This is you from the future.
It's the moms of kids who have Down syndrome. See, I would always say it. I didn't even stop saying it, but they get super hurt. They feel bad. And I think the kids, maybe would feel bad if they heard it. So I after many years, even after I had him, I had to like eliminate it from my vocabulary. But he's definitely asked people if their baby has Down syndrome. And the kid has not have Down syndrome. So like we'll be in mass and he'll be like, hey, does your baby have Down syndrome? And I'll be like,
he's completely honest, so he can't.
Yeah, like he's not gonna like backtrack it. He's like, no, I thought he was on like
no, he looks like me.
Yeah.
He looks like me.
New idea for your channel.
His eyes, he'll say that. Like, see his eyes. I'm like, I don't
he's Chinese.
You gotta do.
Yeah, I don't know why.
You gotta do man on the street with your son and like just have him go and ask girls if they're pregnant and like.
No, he has this great line. My husband made him stop, but he used to say, loved girls always. And he would go up to them. This is what he'd say. Hey, baby, want to have a sleepover?
Dude.
And I was like,
rules.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. You're not making promises. Very out in the open, super sweet. So my husband said, you can't say that anymore.
No.
Boo. And he says, so now he says, hey, baby, want to marry me? And I'm like, now you're starting with the lies.
Yeah.
Lies.
That's amazing.
That's worse because it's a commitment.
Yeah, and it's not true.
I asked a lady at a show recently. I was doing some crowd work, and I was like, "Are you pregnant?" I was like, "Well, that was a risk asking that out loud in a stage room full." And she was, but that was a real ballsy fucking move.
I was just listening to Shane Gillis today, and he talked about one of the worst crowd work things he ever did. Was he was like he didn't realize it, but there was a group of like special needs kids came to a show. And so, like he like randomly saw someone take a guy out, like it was she took a guy out, and he literally goes, man, how fucking because it was the way he said it was he didn't say how drunk is that fucking guy. He was like how
fucked up or something.
Yeah, he was like, how fucked up is that dude? And so he went on, and the guy came back in, and then he saw him, and he was like, oh no,
he's super fucked up.
Yeah, and he was like,
he was like,
oh my god, what do I say now? He's like, the entire crowd just went quiet because everybody knew, and he was just like, it was.
Oops.
Oh man, in Staten Island one time.
He said fucked up instead of like drunk. He could have just said like if I just said fucked up or like
Top starting a story with Staten Island and not me, so I'm very
Yes.
interested to hear the story about Staten Island. Top,
In
go ahead.
Staten Island, like the very few times that my cousins are there, so I'll go out there and they did this pickup game of baseball, and I'm like the baseball guy. I play baseball my whole life. So they're like, all right, Danny. Well, just dox myself. You're the captain.
We need to bleep out my son's name also. So I'll write down the timestamp.
He said, "You're the captain of the team. You can pick your team, and we'll give you first shot because you're not from here." So I'm just looking at faces. I don't know anybody, and I see this kid, and I was like, this kid named Jimmy, and I was like, all right, you're my first pick, and I pick him, and everybody's like laughing at me. So I was like, what the fuck? But the kid looked like he could ball. Like he just had like this look about him where he like, so I was like, all right, this is my first guy. So I put him in like, you're gonna lead off for us, and you're gonna and as I'm doing the lineup, people are just like laughing. So I give him the bat, and I was like, all right, go ahead. And he holds the bat like this, right? And I was like, I grab it from him, like, stop fucking around, man. He like, here you go, come on, let's go.
Hold on, like a man. Stop it.
So he grabs it again, like all weird. So I turn to my cousin. I'm like, yo, what the fuck's up with this kid? And he's like, yo, we call him Jimmy No Hands because he doesn't have bones in his hands. He has no fucking. he was my first pick. I was like, that's the guy. This is the guy to play a game where you specifically need your hands. And it was like. Part of him must have been like, fuck this kid, because he can't see that I don't have hands, or like I don't know what he was thinking.
Well, you know what? Fuck, that's really. You should have been like, why are you picking me first? I don't have hands.
Yeah, it's like,
So
how
how
are
do
you
you
even
know?
here? Yeah, we're playing pickup baseball. There's literally
did you
only
kick him off
You
the
can't even
team?
pick up the baseball.
No, I let him play. He swung the first swing. He like dropped it. He dropped it. I was like, oh my god.
Well, that's an opportunity for what we call hand over hand. So you could have snuggled up behind him
Oh, that'd be
True.
great.
and put your
Like,
arms around him,
And you hit a dinger because Top is so good. It's just
called an
you just-
accommodation.
No,
You've
it's
been
funny.
powerless to stop me.
We all have a story of like a kid growing up who's just like clearly like not all there, but just like either like a beast at some sort of sport, or we had this kid growing up. His nickname was Omaha. He just looked like a corn-fed kid from like the Midwest. He's from Staten Island. And like he was dumb as rocks, but man, could he play football? So it's like you take that what you got. It's
Yeah,
like,
they got superpowers.
You can't count, but you could fucking run quick.
Yeah, this kid, my son can swim unbelievable. Like he breathes under his armpit and everything, like way better than I could. It's a superpower, and he can hold his breath forever. It's like a dolphin. I mean, I don't know.
He doesn't even need goggles because the squinty eyes just.
He's right.
going
He's got
level.
hardly any exposure, no surface area.
My wife just texted me, so
I was
I
gonna
better.
say we're way over, babe.
Yeah, my wife was just like, we gotta put this baby to bed. So
Yeah,
wait,
I
one
know.
more
I know. This
question.
is how you support the family, Cole. But
yeah, I know I got to.
You gotta
Not my muscles. I
work-life
can't
balance.
actually.
One question. I came on here for conspiracies. Mana, have you spoken to Tony Merkel?
No, but I did see an excellent. I think you might have. Well, I was asking questions about the Ohio thing, and he knew who made the call to blow the thing up. Right? He was the one who
What?
named names. Tony Merkel.
I know who he is. He was on my old podcast. Tony's cool.
Yeah, he was saying. Well, maybe he was talking out his ass, but he was saying that it was like the two governors and the Norfolk Southern and the EPA were all in on the decision to light up Cherry Bomb.
Oh shit.
Which was a crazy thing to do, I think, to light that. It was just chlorine. I mean, you could
Are
have
we
just
talking about
sucked
the
it out.
same Tony Merkel? He's a dude. He's like really into like esoteric conspiracy stuff.
Yeah. I think
Holy
he
shit.
tweets, right?
He's bald, beard. He does.
Are you
like,
gonna
I-
make me what are you
I'll look him
fucking we can talk about anything. We can talk about aliens, we can talk about that makes you guys all like I don't know.
No, I'm letting Top.
No,
go, like,
because
No.
this is a guy that like he's like out there in the woods looking for Dogman. I just find it weird
Here,
if he's
right
like
here.
Does he tweet?
Yeah, I'm following him
yeah,
up.
I guess he
I'm following him
does.
up. I'm following him up.
I'm looking.
I'm following him up. I'm following him up. Here.
You know what? I'll find him.
that would
my
actually be pretty
feed.
great.
Where?
He's just like, I know
Where? This guy.
cryptids, and I know fucking
This guy?
Top.
All right,
that guy.
maybe it's wrong. I'm just gonna look.
That's
Oh,
what
we're
I
gonna
was
hate
thinking.
that. Top
This-
is like
This just looks like Top.
it doesn't look Top. It's white. It's the white version of Top. Is actually who that is.
Yes.
Is that the guy? Top.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the guy that you're thinking of? Monica?
I'm not seeing it. I could be
So-
wrong. So, all
what
right.
was he
So
saying?
tell me, why are you telling me? What are you telling me about this guy?
Oh no, because this guy's just like super into like a lot of the stuff. I guess you don't know about some of the stuff like the esoteric, like
It's not my
Dogman.
thing.
Yeah,
Should it
it's
be?
strange. I
It's
think
pretty
it should.
interesting. It's pretty cool. Dogman's sick. Dogman's essentially like a werewolf thing, but not like a werewolf. So it's like and it's
Interdimensional
bipedal,
werewolf.
right? But it's not.
Dogman
it's
was
not,
actually from the Civil War, correct? Is
I
that
think,
where it was a little bit before that? And
I
he
think
was
it goes
actually
before
like
that.
See,
killed,
this has no target.
he was like, it was actually a man, but they said he was just like a fucking just a huge dude that went out in the wilderness, and then he would go in and he would kill. My wife is at the door.
Look, okay. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
so
Well,
I heard Dogman from how I understood
he's got to
it.
go.
Yeah,
I gotta go,
you gotta go.
or
Just go.
I'll be sleeping on no
Just
pussy
go.
tonight.
Bye, Cole. Nice to
Hey,
see you. We're all
Tower
gonna
Gang,
go in like 2
Monica,
minutes.
thank you so much. Adam, thanks for letting me on.
Love you,
It was
brother bear.
great. I like it much better talking about Downs kids than UFOs. 100%.
It was fun.
Better.
We got some
It was-
laughs. We got
yeah,
some laughs.
it was. All right, I'll see you guys.
All right, later.
Peace.
No, so Dogman is like apparently like some interdimensional creature they think or whatever. Who is like it's like this giant 7 to 9 foot. Essentially looks like a werewolf, right? This
Right.
very strong, powerful wolf like, but it's
Yeah.
not a man though. Like it's not like from a man. It's just like its own like Bigfoot's his own thing.
Yeah. Right.
Like that.
You should listen. I didn't mess with Bigfoot or Dogman or any of these things, and I started listening to his show. It's called The
Really?
Confessionals, and
Yeah, it's-
now I'm kind of like, oh my god,
The
There might be
confessional.
The
something.
Confessionals podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
it's
heard
so
of it.
He
good.
moved
Right.
to Tennessee. He lived by me in PA. He lived like in Philly, and
Yeah.
then he moved to Tennessee and like he started like Bigfoot hunt. Like he has like a documentary out. Like they did like a whole
crazy.
search. It's,
All right,
yeah, it's
I'll
a whole
check it out.
thing. Yeah.
Because I am a conspiracy researcher about conspiracies. The only conspiracy about cryptid and stuff is that supposedly people on top know they exist and lie about it. But like, I'm literally talking about rich guys who get together and, keep free energy from us. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it has to be like a mano conspiracy to get my interest. However, if you think this will get my interest, I'm definitely going
I think
to
if you're
check it out.
into that stuff, it'll pique your natural
I haven't-
curiosity.
I have an open mind.
Yeah, I think
so-
it'll pique your, especially the Dogman stuff. Okay, so I spoke to somebody. So there's a lot of Dogman sightings in Pennsylvania, which was where I live, and I was at a show one time, and I was joking around on stage about like just Bigfoot and just goofing off about conspiracy and stuff like that. And after the show, this lady and her boyfriend talked to me, and the lady was like, it was almost like I was hours after the show, and she was like truly terrified. Like you could tell when someone's like really like shaken up over like a story. She's like, "Listen, I have a story if you want to hear it." And her boyfriend's like, "You should want to hear the story." I was like, "All right." And she's like, "So I live in so and so PA, which is kind of by me, but not. It's like an hour from me." And she says that she has like her balcony on like the second floor. Like she has a one whole house balcony, garage first floor, car on the driveway, and every morning she takes her coffee, goes out, puts it on the balcony, does her little morning routine, whatever. Okay, her house is like surrounded by woods, like it's a lot of woods. She says one morning she goes out, she hears rustling on her gravel driveway, and she's thinking it might be a bear or a coyote because they're out here in PA. And she's like, "Oh, well, it's probably a stupid little black bear or something like that." And she says she sees this thing walk out from under her balcony, and it was a giant wolf, she said, that was walking on 2 feet. She said it looked like a werewolf. And she said it had the pointy ears, like the long snout and everything. It was like a darkish gray. She said it walked across past the car, across the street. It stopped, it turned, and it stared right at her. And she said she froze in absolute fear. Couldn't move, couldn't scream, couldn't do anything. And the thing just kind of like walked back into the woods and left. But she said she saw it clear as day. There's no one, like it was literally 7 feet from her, but she was just on the second floor. That thing was on the first floor.
That
Yeah.
totally scared me. That
Yeah,
story
but like,
scared
but the story and the way she told it was like very genuine.
Crazy.
And I'm paraphrasing. I cut it short, obviously.
yeah, no,
but
that's
like
super scary.
the way
See,
she
what-
told, and it was like very real.
What makes me interested in it is like, so you guys were talking about UFOs before I came on, and I don't think UFOs are like from outer space. I think they're interdimensional.
That's what you were saying. Yeah.
Okay, so and a lot of the theory is that these guys are kind of interdimensional. They'll like walk through thinnies in the forest. That's why there's a lot of like missing people in the forest,
Mhm.
and even some stories that like the people come on and they talk to Tony about seeing these things. When they report it to local deputies, the deputies are kind of like, shh, come over here to like a separate room. Like they know shit's going on, and they don't want to.
If
Yeah,
you ever hear
weird,
missing
weird
411,
stuff.
Monica?
What?
The missing 411.
No.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The missing 411 is a phenom that people just go missing in national parks, but like weirdly, Like not like, oh, I fell and I broke and I died. Like that's normal shit, right? That happens in national parks, accidents. We all understand that.
Right.
This is people who go missing, and then if you lay a map under the people missing, right, over a map of our cave system, it's almost like a perfect, like U-shaped ring of like the cave system, people go missing, cave system, people, because that's where like Hollow Earth comes into play and all that shit. If you really want to go down the rabbit hole.
Okay. I can only do one.
Yeah,
I can only absorb
But-
one thing at a time. So I'll
But
start
it's
with
very interesting.
confessions.
Submission,
And I don't
yeah.
really listen to podcasts because
You
they're entertainment.
you
in
can
my
just look
opinion,
up-
and I don't have time.
You can just look up stories or read stuff, dude. There's plenty of stuff out there that you can read. Or
But
even listen to.
also, I don't like my ideas getting crowded out by other people's ideas. So I wouldn't in this case because I have no ideas about this stuff. But like, I won't listen to a news show about something that's happening right at that moment because I'm like, no, I don't want to
Right,
know.
right,
If
right.
somebody's
No.
figured it out, then I won't.
No,
even
this is
bother.
all like we don't. Shit's taking people
Out there.
and
All right.
like the missing 401 stories are weird. Like you have like experienced hikers. Like here's a crazy one. You had a bunch of hunters, a family and family friends that have been doing this for years, and they know the same. They've got the same group patch of woods for 20 plus 5 years, 30 years. The father's been doing it forever. How they do it? They call it line hunting. So like one person goes in like 20 yards this way, and the person walks in parallel to him like 30 yards, so on down the line, and they walk through the forest, push something out to the other side, to the other hunters. That's how it's done, right? Like that's a form of hunting.
Mhm.
So this guy was like, I walked this way, my dad was in the middle, and my brother or something was on my dad's right side. And and all we do is we literally walk in. We can't really see each other, but we're not like super far from each other, and we just stay there. We don't like do anything. And then at a certain time, we all walk back. They all walk back, and the father never came out of the woods. And his shit was just like nothing was just gone, like just totally gone, and no, not like no blood trail, no fucking like sign of us. And he had a gun. Let's keep that in mind. He was armed, gone. So like, and they never found him. Never found the body. Never found shit. Like just completely gone. And it's like so stories like that. You're like, all right, what the fuck,
You buying this top?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm buying it's actually, to me, it's like a white pill because like the government can
Yes.
flex on like all the shit that they have and what they're capable of, but to me the idea that there's something like, I live in kind of the woods too, is like there's something in this kind of wilderness that you just can't fuck with. I think that is interesting, and I think it'll strike fear in the hearts of our overlords because
Yeah.
I don't think they really know either.
There was a secondhand story told to me too about and again, secondhand story, so I can't really verify this as much, but apparently this dude talked to one of the forest rangers in California. This guy was from California, lived out there for a long time. He's a comic, moved, that's how I know him. But he was from there or lived there, whatever. And they had all those wildfires, obviously, in the last 10 or so years, like really rampant. He said one of his buddies worked for the fire or the forest service out there, and he said that they got a report of someone hit a black bear during evacuating for the forest fire. And they said, like, I think we hit a black bear, but we're getting out of the fire. I don't fucking know. It's like over here. If you guys could get to it, I don't know, like, what to do. So they were like, yeah, sure. So him and his buddy he was working with go to the site. They drive up to it. As they're pulling up to it, they're like, that's not a fucking bear, dude. That's not a bear at all. It looks like a wolf. They described it as a wolf, right? But not like a wolf, like a giant bipedal, like a Dogman type thing. That's how he's describing it, like giant paws, like with claws, like his, with the weird bent elbow leg things, like the backward. I don't know what you call that,
Right,
like the
right.
backward hinge, whatever
Yeah,
the fuck it is. And he said, they were like, okay, that's weird. So they threw it on the truck, took it back to, I guess, their station or whatever. And he said they called it in, like, hey, we picked up some animal that got hit. It's dead. It was dead, by the way. I want to make that clear. It was dead in the story. The animal was dead. Animal's dead. And they threw it in the truck, brought it back, and they're like, hey, we have some animal that got hit. It's definitely not a bear, though. We're bringing it back. They said as they got back there was a black SUV waiting for them with some gentlemen, and they're like, okay, we need to talk to you guys.
No way.
Yep.
It's
And
like
they're like,
Men in Black stuff.
come over here. And they're like, so you guys, you picked up a bear. And they went, nah. And they went, no. You picked up a bear.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what
that
they
I
were
believe.
saying.
Yeah.
There were two hunters that saw the Dogman thing and they saw some other apparition. And when they got back and they were talking to the deputies, they were like, it's illegal to hunt bear in this part of the country. And it's not the season. You don't have the tags. And they're like, it wasn't a bear. Like, we shot at something. It wasn't a bear.
Right.
but they kept pushing. They're like, no, we're gonna arrest you because it was a bear. But the guy
up, right?
yeah, there's like keep it quiet. So like
Yeah,
this stuff gets weird out there, man.
It gets very weird. Yeah, I heard again, like then stories get yes.
No, there's this. Do you ever hear the story of Jeffrey Allen Lash? Jeffrey Allen Lash, like nobody talks about this guy. He was in Malibu or Pacific Palisades, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. He said that he worked for the government, that he was an alien hybrid. All he ate at a local restaurant was raw meat. He would have them make special high quality raw meat. He was dying, and he said to his girlfriend, just leave me in a car on the side of the road and call this number, and they will come get my body. And she did, but they never went and got the body. So 2 weeks later, the sheriffs found this body. They did call the authorities. The authorities came, like there was a little bit of press coverage, and he had in his house on the Pacific Palisades, he had so many guns and ammo and everything that were all registered and legal, which is, I actually did the math with the laws, and it's not possible because you have to wait 6 months to buy another gun. There was just no way he had those.
They're saying 1,200.
Yeah, and he had
Crazy.
amphibious vehicles that were registered in his name. Yeah, it was a crazy thing. So when you hear that, I'm like, yeah, I definitely think that guy, they were supposed to come get his body and all this weird shit.
That
It's
is
a
fucking wild.
craziest story. And then there
Yeah.
was like in Vanity Fair, there was like a supposed, the expose or whatever, but it was a whitewash because it glossed over the fact that the explanation about the guns, that he was like a gun nut, isn't sufficient to explain how he could possibly have had that many guns in California and cannot have them. So
How about that Jewish Times art? I feel like I don't want to keep you here, but there's a Jewish
I'm
Times
okay.
article.
Adam's
Wait.
got to go too.
Okay, yeah,
No,
well, cut me
no,
off
no.
whenever.
No, yeah.
Okay,
But,
good. Go.
There's like a guy that was saying that interdimensional beings tried to reach our, like they were thinking about bringing humans into to like the fold or something like that, but they decided that we weren't ready. And there's like 7 different types of alien. Did you hear about this? There's an article about the guy. They're kind of like, yeah, he doesn't exist, but
I didn't hear it.
he's like, I think he's like a UN representative, which is like he has like high ranking, and he was just saying how he's met with beings, and they said that the humans weren't ready to be brought into the fold.
That's
There-
pretty funny.
there is
Also,
a-
it's like the most believable thing they could say to us. It's like, yeah,
There's
you're right.
a Canadian,
The old Canadian Ministry of Defense guy.
yeah.
But
What
this-
was up with that?
Is it- okay, so
the
it was
English
that guy.
did it. The English guy did it. I think there was an English one too. But like, I always go to this. Yeah, but they're feds. So like, you're gonna trust what they say now
Right,
because they're not in it.
they're
They're not
messing
involved.
with
Like,
you.
like there's some TikTok account, and it's like ask my dad, retired CIA, real spy questions, and I go, why would we trust him? His
Yeah.
job was to lie to us for 30 years, and now he's gonna tell the truth. Like, he's a fucking fed.
So what do you think about, there are numerous people in the alt media and podcasting, whatever, who have military intelligence backgrounds, family members, and I personally absolutely dismiss every single one of them. Like any hint, any whiff of that, and I'm like, meh. Now people think because I went to Ivy League schools, like that's enough, and that's fine too. If you want to just dismiss everything I say, is fine. But like millions of people have gone to Ivy League schools and it's not a one-to-one correlation with. I was in on information, and like they call it the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, but it's not about intelligence, it's about operations. So you're in bed with a system that is designed to conduct psychological operations, and there's no way to cover up your past, is how I look at that. I mean, and you look at, I think I looked at 9 out of the 10 big tech guys, and every single one of them was 1 degree away from military intelligence, or like even Bezos, I thought was was the furthest away, and his grandfather was the head of the international or the Atomic Energy Commission or something like that. Like something, they're all kind of connected. And I had to say, I dismiss absolutely all of them who have those kind of connections.
Interesting story, actually, right now, currently unfolding. So, do you know Clint? He's on Tower Gang, and he has his show Liberty Lockdown as well. he was just on Timcast again, like last week, and he made a brief, like just a passing statement about like the war hawks on China, the neoconservatives who are hawkish on China, and he just said, you know, Scott Pasovich, which I call him now, he's hawkish. Scott saw that, pulled the clip, and basically tried to drag Clint to like 2 million people, calling him, trying to infer that he's a pedophile, which is like a CIA tactic. Then calling him a fat Fred Durst, which is hilarious and accurate.
That was very funny. That was the funniest thing he said.
and he just accurate.
He just kept
he's not wrong. Hey,
he's not wrong.
Yeah. Well, you know, the Rolling Stones are good music. Doesn't mean that they're not related to Tavistock. Like you have to have something. You got to have a little something for it to work.
That is true.
But that guy's
they'll get pissed.
He's naval intelligence.
Yeah,
and he's
up.
Like he speaks like Mandarin and Chinese. Whenever I see him, I'm like, first off, he looks like his face is fake. It just looks like too stretched out. Like he's a Chinese dude that they did plastic surgery on, and now he's a plant here.
Yeah.
I swear he looks like a created person. Came out of nowhere. And I just found it interesting that like Clint is making some good points on a large platform about how these people are, you know, disingenuous and trying to start a war with China when basically we're trying to get out of one with Ukraine and stop World War III. And the guy's like jumping down and trying to end him. It didn't work out for Jack. He actually lost this encounter. Go figure. Because we're the fucking gang.
I was gonna say, luckily Clint and we have a bunch of psychopaths behind him like us.
That's awesome.
That's why I'm banned on Twitter right now, because we were just lighting this guy up. But it is interesting. Whenever I see him, I'm just like, this guy's a fucking fed, and I don't trust him as far as I can grow.
And these people have big platforms. I mean, I literally was on the radio for 8.5 years. I was on Twitter. I've been on Twitter since 2011. Like, if some people just pop on there, they say a couple of things that are not necessarily more insightful than the things I've said over the years. And every time, and I even noticed this in the early days of YouTube, early days or whatever, 10 years ago, I would have these things and the number of views would just stop at 500, like literally even 500. And I would write in the comments, like, who the fuck stopped this at 500, please? And it would go up to like 538 and then it would stop again. So anybody who has a huge platform like overnight, I just feel like, how did that happen? There are too many things, not that I should be huge, but like if you just plug away, I mean, I think we all know, like plug away, you get a little bit at a time. But I don't know anybody who all of a sudden had like 1 million followers or 10,000 followers even. I mean, it's just not believable, because if you're real, they suppress you, I think. Is that you think that's
no,
just
the Twitter files?
defeatist?
I mean, that was said to be true. I mean, that's just true, right? It's just what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it was released, and we can all read that now.
I mean, like, I'm just afraid that, like, I don't mean to be like, I should be so much bigger. Like, I don't mean that at all. I just feel like I had a platform, and it could have been. Yeah, and I'm a fucking chick with a Spanish surname. Like, who isn't picking up on that? You know what I'm saying? Like, they could use that, right? So why didn't I get the call? Because I think they know that they really couldn't do much to me. And even when I was, working, they're like, oh yeah, if you get canceled, like that'll be so cool. We're like, promote it. And then one day they were just like, you gotta go.
too close to home, Monica.
Right. Yeah. I was like, oh.
I think some people slip through the cracks, like maybe like an Alex Stein type, like, because he had one of those. He was on our show early and then just completely skyrocketed and blew up. But like, I could see a reason for that. Some people, there's really no reason for it.
But how? And I don't mean, I'm not trying to criticize.
The big booty Latina thing, I think, really is what got him over the edge when he did.
So something went viral. But he does those
viral.
Hilarious things. But how does he get away with that? He shows up in these places that I'm surprised. I'm not questioning him. I'm just saying, like, how does he get in there? He
hasn't been lately. That's why they shut his comedy show down in New York, like a bunch of fucking Antifa people.
He snuck through the cracks, and I think he blew up like a little too fast for people to notice. And now they're kind of like, all right, we can't have this guy going. But it's already too late, I think, for him. Yeah. Although it's like man on the street stuff. I don't know how far you can take that.
He's very funny though. I have seen his shit. It's very funny. I'm not very funny. So I can see how like something really funny can go viral and then you're out there, or you're somebody like Anthony Bourdain, like somehow they didn't see it coming and this guy was uncompromising. So they had to hang like a 6'5" guy over a fucking door.
No, I think that Alex Stein clip went. I mean, I went viral on every single left,
Yeah.
right, middle
So funny.
platform.
Yeah.
Every like late news show, like it was on everything because it was such a big fucking deal. So that's what really propelled. And then of course every person who thinks like us, or even every conservative person's like,
Yeah.
fucking follow this guy.
Yeah.
You know, so
There was also the San Bernardino doctors. There were a couple of doctors in the beginning of COVID who were like, that's not how viruses spread.
Mhm.
And they were for a moment on Laura Ingraham or Megyn Kelly or something. And I was like, boy, these guys are really speaking truth to power. How are they getting on the news? But they did because they went viral and the news had to acknowledge that and give them a little airtime. But then they disappeared. Either they got talked to or whatever. So I guess there is a way that people blow up like that, but then you see the brakes put on them. And yeah, I know it's hard. It's just hard. It's just hard. But I feel like people who have actual CIA background, I think maybe there's one or two that's legit, but you know what? They're going to have to be sacrificed because a rule of that guy doesn't count
no, I agree.
is probably a good rule.
No, I agree. Okay, so I do have to go. So
Yeah,
let's talk closing points. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? We'll be all right? You guys think we're doomed? What do you guys think?
One
Top,
last
I wanna
thing.
hear what Top says. Yeah.
Oh no, we're completely fucked. Monica? What do you make of the fact that everything's coming out about Fauci now and all the COVID stuff? They're saying masks don't work. They're talking down about the vaccine.
Yeah, the Times
they
wrote
just
an
exposed.
opinion article about the mask. I don't know if you saw that top. It was
Yeah.
like, what about the mask? I don't think it works. It's like,
Apparently, Fauci got paid $200 million by Moderna or one of these companies. This is all coming out now, and you know that these things don't come out unless they want you to see this and they want you to think a certain way. I'm trying to figure out how they're trying to make me think or make the general populace think.
There's the most powerful, I think this is true, the most powerful archetype that exists is the scapegoat. And in, I think, Jewish culture, it was a way you take all the sins of the community and you like project it onto the goat and then you slit its throat and that like purges. So I've been waiting for a scapegoat. And that, I think, I don't know if he was necessarily it. I thought Andrew Cuomo was it a little bit, but they need a scapegoat. And if you go back and look at the 2017 SPARS document on the Johns Hopkins website, which is the media script, basically the propaganda script of something like this from, a couple of years before to a couple of years after, they get towards the end and they say, once all the vaccine injuries start coming up to the fore, we have to decide whether we thank early movers for the sacrifice they and their families made by taking an experimental drug, or do we ignore it? Like, how do we handle this media problem? And that, I think, is how these psyops work, is that they do the thing, they do step one, and then they assess. They have like a decision tree that's all set up, and then they move in the direction. Sometimes things are going so well that they can level up. And sometimes they just bring it down to where they're doing, whatever control. Now I feel like they're moving into the weather thing. So they can wrap that up. They want to restore a little bit of credibility by offering up some sacrificial wolves and all that. But the weather in LA is ridiculous right now.
Snow,
like it's
right?
just fucking snow. I see snow out my window. I mean, people are just like, this is so crazy. I'm like, it's unbelievable. That is how crazy. It's not believable, right? We're in LA, that's snow. They're fucking with us. So, I mean, they've been able to do it for 100 years, but I feel like, so I went to get a manicure today. Not usually my thing. I'm trying to I'm trying to get a little older. I feel like I should try a little harder. So I go to the manicure and I thought, I'm going today because it's pouring rain and these people don't know how to drive and it'll be empty. And then I thought, it'll probably be closed. Like probably nobody, like Perez was like, oh my God, it's raining. I've got to stay home. But people were there to my amazement. But then I realized they're going to make it so bad that like the snow day it's going to be lockdown for extended periods of time. And they're going to call it weather. And then they're not even going to have to produce the weather at a certain point, just fear of weather or of a toxic air event or whatever. So I think they're kind of like, they kind of got what they were going to get out of that. They have to repair their reputation a little bit, and I go on a little bit too long. I've been noticing that lately.
No, I agree.
I
with
made
you.
my point.
For me, that's you asked the question of where do I think this is going, and I'll wrap up on that. Like Clint sent me a video of the hurricane in Turkey right now, I believe, and someone was like recording the sky.
A hurricane's in Turkey now?
Well, there was an earthquake, I think, in Turkey or one of these.
Yeah, and then
there's
another
like 4 of
earthquake.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and someone was recording the sky, and there was some like strange lights and movements and stuff, and they were saying, "Is this HARP?" And Clint asked me as the resident conspiracy theorist of Tower Gang, and I said, "It could be. It looks like Project Bluebeam. It could be HARP, but what I know for sure is that like I moved my family out into pretty much like the middle of nowhere, and the scary part is like these people can still touch you if they want to. You see what
100%.
happened in Ohio? Well, you're talking about with the weather. If they want to touch you, they're gonna touch you." I don't know. I just got to try to do whatever I can. But yeah, if they feel like dropping a fucking hurricane on me, it's over.
And Obamacare was the registry. Even the Selective Service or Social Security, you don't have to register. But Obamacare, you have to register. And that's how they know. You could get in trouble if you don't have Obamacare, right? It's the one thing every man, woman, and child from the day they're born. That's their registry.
Well, I have insurance. That's not Obamacare.
Well, you have insurance. Whatever. You have to be registered with a health provider.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. You don't have to. You could have your baby at home and not have Social Security, but if they catch that baby without health insurance, that somebody's in trouble. You have an affirmative thing, which is just new. So I just say like, yes, they can catch everyone everywhere, and there really is no escaping that. That's a little bit of a black pill top.
Yeah, but there's Bigfoot.
Here's my
Dogman.
white pill though. If you want
Pretty
the white pill. I don't actually think. I've been thinking this for a while. It's just the same as World War I and World War II. Like it's World War III. On the other side, we're still human. I don't think that's going to be transhuman. We're still going to have families and stuff. We're going to have to adapt to the technology. As my son says, it's Blade Runner, Mom. It's not Demolition Man. I'm like, okay. So you're going to have some hovercraft, but we'll still have crime, which I guess is actually a good thing because it means that we still have humanity, still have like human babies along with androids. And, I think we will still have humanity. That's my highest hope, that humanity will still exist. And I guess that seems like a low bar, but I feel like sometimes that's as white a pill as I can offer.
Fair. I mean, yeah. Top, you happy with that answer?
No, but I think she's right.
I mean, Blade Runner, man. It's just, what are you going to do?
Oh, shit. Monica, Top, thank you guys for joining me. Monica, please tell everybody where they can find you and your show and your socials.
Thank you so much. If you want to listen to my show, Deep Dives with Monica Perez, on your favorite podcasting platform, rockfin.com/deep dives, and at Monica Perez Show on Twitter if you want to chit chat.
Boom. Top, hit him with us.
TopLobsta with an A on Twitter. I'm banned right now, but find me there. And on Wednesday, 9/11, catch me at Tower Gang, where we're breaking down our favorite mass shootings. So we have a whole bracket. We're going to go through it. Monica, you'd be a great guest.
I might have. Let me think.
Stop by.
This week, which we almost have a literal mass shooter lined up, Mark Random. But
crazy.
He might fall through, he might not. But Monica, we have to get you on before it's over. We're doing a month-long thing. We
all right, just give me a cameo. I'll just pop in.
Okay. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, no, dude.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys for joining me as always. Everybody, you guys know where to find me. All that shit. Come see me do comedy. I need it. Yay. Again, this Friday, LPPA gig, Reading, Pennsylvania, Doubletree, Hilton. Get ticket to lppa.org. I'll be there and other convention circuits soon. So hit me up on the socials for those. Everybody, thank you guys again. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Find Adam on social media, Twitter and IG at Adam Nutter, or Facebook and TikTok at Adam Nutter Comedy. And for podcasts and merch, check out www.droptent.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.
This has been a Drop Tent Media Production.